Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. I'm excited to be here. My name is Adam Hart. I'm the engagement manager here at iSocrates and MADTECH.AI. And I've been with the company for a little while now, approaching a year. And I'm excited to say I really love this product. I'm so excited to share it with you and what it looks like. Before we jump into any of that, I would love to do a very brief introduction of all of our speakers today and our presenters. So again, I'm Adam. Today we have with us Bill Lederer, our chairman and CEO of MADTECH.AI, our esteemed leader who will be taking us through some things. We have Jason Bach, who is actually one of our customers doing some amazing work with the iPaaS solution. He's the CFO over at MediaPlace Partners. We'll hear a little bit more from him later. And we also have Santosh Kumar, who is our Associate Director of Data Tech, and he's also over the product of MADTECH.AI and iPaaS. So he's been really exploring a lot of these ideas and building this out over a long time. I'll let them do a little bit of a larger introduction for themselves as when we get there, so you know a little bit more about them. But those are our presenters today. So what's today going to look like? Today, we're going to talk about iPaaS. Of course, that's what the webinar's for. We're going to talk about what that looks like. So we got through with our introduction. Before we get to what iPaaS is, though, we really want to talk about the problem itself. What did we set out to achieve? What were we running into that we saw as something that needed to be solved? So we're going to talk about that problem. We're going to talk about the challenges with that problem, the data integration issues that make that problem so difficult for a lot of organizations to solve. And we're going to talk about the solutions that we came up with to overcome that. And then what iPaaS is, that solution that we developed, that we're making available to the world. How did it solve those data integration challenges? How did it fix that problem? We're going to walk through all of that. Then you're going to get a live demo. There's going to be an actual hands-on experience with what iPaaS looks like, setting up connectors, and what it looks like in the wild. So that'll be really great. After that, we're going to hand it over to Jason. He's going to tell us a success story. He's going to tell us how his company has adopted and uses iPaaS and what they're seeing that success look like today. And then we're gonna have time for some Q&A at the end. If there's some time for questions and answers, or if there's something that we missed that you'd really want to see, we're happy to answer it. We're super open and transparent here at MADTECH.AI, and we're super excited to get there for you. With that being said, I'm actually going to hand this over to Bill, our chairman and CEO, who's going to walk you through our problem, what we set out to achieve. Bill, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, this is a long time in the making. We have been working on building, testing, using with our paid customers on the iSocrates side of the business now for the better part of almost 10 years, solutions specifically around siloed, disconnected, and unusable data, and more specifically, building all kinds of connectors, transformations, custom mapping, data warehousing solutions, a lot of data cleaning, and taxonomizing, and all kinds of challenges around data. Apparently, these are not just our own problems to solve for those of our particular customers over the years. Overall, the industry statistic is that 80% of marketers report that they've got a significant primary problem when it comes to what they want to do with marketing, stemming from siloed, disconnected, and unusable data, is their biggest single marketing data challenge. Behind that, they report a lack of easy availability of the right data models and a need for proactive problem solving. So this is a very common set of challenges, and it's the ones that we've set out to specifically work on with MADTECH.AI platform. And more specifically, the iPaaS solution is really the foundation for what we're trying to do with marketing decision intelligence. So if this is the problem, if we can go on to the next slide, please. The more specific challenges as we look at this, and the solutions that we've built are here and over the next few slides. So in particular, we're going to take a look at what we've done that gives us access and gives you access to hundreds of pre-built data connectors running across paid, owned, and earned media, as well as marketing adjacencies like finance and operations, could be ticketing, other kinds of activities that may bear on a marketer's work. There's an awful lot of manual labor that typically goes into this kind of work. Probably many people who are seeing this webinar are familiar with that. Hours, tens of hours, hundreds of hours, can be thousands of hours, and an awful lot of money spent on manual data preparation. In order to be able to sort of beat this, we have spent quite a bit of time building and testing drag and drop user interface and working on the user experience in order to make standard and custom transformation options easier. These include ELT, ETL, something that we've worked many years building, which we call trade element mapping systems. These are very specific mapping tools made up of scripts that we have learned are necessary within marketing, and spent a lot of years building and testing those in order to get to more accurate data mapping. A lot of times the data mapping can be quite complex and there are challenges. The whole goal here is to be able to bring the ability to do standard or custom transformations in an automated fashion, whether that's extract, transformation, and load, or extract, loading, and transformation, but to essentially automate the data pipelines and be able to run them without a great deal of intervention. Next, challenges and solutions. Well, for one thing, we believe that best practice is that marketing needs its own data warehouse. For many of our customers, data warehouses are expensive to set up and maintain. So we provide one within the iPaaS solution. It's secure, it's scalable, it's built to be multi-tenanted, it is staffed around the clock with professionals that support it. You need your own copy of things, even if you've got customers internally or externally that have things stored in various places. It's been our experience that it would be really best for marketing and for agencies to be able to have their own data warehouse. And so we provide that in iPaaS. It is absolutely typical throughout our industry that there are data pipelines breaking all the time for many different reasons. When you have a pipeline failure, it means the data is not flowing. That means that you're probably working with old data that may not be relevant. You may not be able to optimize what you're doing while you're in market with campaigns, and you certainly wouldn't have complete information for running end of week, end of month, end of quarter wrap up decks and status. But what we want to be able to do to the greatest extent possible is to find out about our data pipeline breaking and try to understand what's the root cause of that and to try to repair it. Now, unlike virtually any company that I know of in our industry, we actually take responsibility for looking after pipelines for customers to the extent that we are able to work with a data connection to be able to do the transformations. If it's within our control, we're going to try to identify it and try to fix it as fast as we possibly can. And so this is an important thing. To do that, we've built specialized diagnostic reports that run every time that you run a data pipeline. So you understand what was the data that you started with exactly, how much moved, was there data leakage, were there challenges, was there corruption within data fields, what was the status of those records, how long did it take, when did it actually move from one place to another, and then once you've already sent that data, what's the ongoing status of those data pipelines? So you need a dashboard, and you're going to need real-time alerts that let you know if there's a breakdown. And you'd like to be able to understand what might be causing it to the extent that that's known. You also are going to need technical support, where you may need technical support, and that's available in a variety of ways, not only online, but we also have escalation available. Finally, you want some control over your cloud bills. So in all these things, we are a cloud solution, as many solutions are. I hate getting surprised at the end of a month to find out, oh, I didn't know we were going to spend that kind of money. So we have the ability built into iPaaS to let you know how much you've spent so far this month. If you've got credits that are rolling over, how many credits have you absorbed? How much is left? Predicting how much at the current rate you're likely to spend for the month so that you don't get surprised and you'll be able to know. So that's built in. You always want to be able to know what you're going to need to pay and to reduce surprise wherever you can. So these are some of the core challenges that we focused on specific to the people that are working with marketing data and analytics and what we built into what you see here, which is the iPaaS solution. That the solution specifically is a suite of marketing data integration tools. It automate data pipelines, stores and organizes the data, provides ongoing monitoring and support, and that support should be available around the clock. You can see over to the right an animated graphic that really depicts what the core elements of the iPaaS are all about. So we start with lots of data sources. There is a significant team of folks that are building and testing and maintaining data connections around the clock. We're happy to do that for you, but we also have a roadmap that we work against every day, continuously building and maintaining lots of marketing and marketing adjacent data sources. The transformations we've just talked about. From there, we go to destinations. So where are we sending the data? We've already indicated that we include at no additional cost a data warehouse for your use. You could also send it to other destinations if you would like. Of course, you're going to need to schedule your pipeline. So there's flexibility about your scheduling, diagnostic report every time the data pipeline is run, and then ongoing real-time access to a dashboard that shows you what the status is for your pipelines. That is what the core of MADTECH.AI iPaaS is all about. And it can be bought separately or is included within the platform itself. So that in a nutshell, big nutshell, is the iPaaS. The totality of the MADTECH.AI solution as a overall suite is that we are trying to put together the combination of data connectors, the unification and transformation of the data. We've talked about the provision of a secure shared data warehouse. And then there is ongoing monitor, reporting, alerts, and technical support 24/7, 365. All of this is already built. We have paying customers on it, and we're going to talk a bit more about that, and you're going to get a chance to hear Jason's story about onboarding with us and using MADTECH.AI every day. I'm looking forward to hearing from him. So this is MADTECH.AI iPaaS.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bill. It was great to hear your perspective of how it got built and everything that we've gone through to get where we are. With that being said, we're going to jump into a live demo. We're going to see what this actually looks like in real time. We're going to set up a connector together, actually. We're going to show that dashboard of what that looks like and how easy it is to implement this solution. With that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I'm going to turn this over to Santosh, the head of product for iPaaS.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Bill. So I'll start sharing my screen.
This looks awesome. Okay, well, I'm actually going to get to be your guide today as we set up a connector here, while Santosh is going to handle the technical backend for me. This is great. So what you're seeing here right now is what you would see if you landed on the dashboard of iPaaS. You logged in, you came into the site, you're all ready to go. Boom, this is where you land on. This is, at a glance, everything that you would be seeing once you have some pipelines set up. You'll see there's some different statuses there of active and inactive, what the sources are, what destinations they're going to. Really all of the pieces that you would want to know at a glance, right? Are they syncing? Are they active? How frequent are these happening? And if you look in the top right-hand corner, there's a data and cloud usage. That's just about to be implemented, where you'll get to see real time how much cloud usage you've used for this month, for this billing cycle. And so what that's going to look like down the road. So there are, like Bill was saying, there are no surprises. I'd like to also call attention to a button there on pipeline status. So if you want a more granular look at these pipelines that have been set up, here it is. Boom, we jump right into how many records are coming from the source? How many are going to the destination? Is there any data leakage? What are the failure rates? What are the estimated records? How many, what is the mismatch on destination versus source? This really a deeper level of analytic capability than that surface look. We don't have to jump too deep into the technical details. Of course, if there's questions about this at the end, you're more than welcome to ask. Just wanted to give like a brief overview of what some of these things look like. So with that being said, let's actually create a connector together. Let's see what it would take if you were setting up a connector for the first time and you wanted to do it yourself. So Santosh has clicked create a new source, and this is where it takes us. Now, if you'll notice, the first thing that my eyes get drawn to is all of these available sources. As you can tell, we have a lot of them. We have a dedicated team that really, really focuses on what are those high value, widely used connectors. Let's build those out in the most robust way possible. So as you can see, we've really thought about what should we be targeting, should we be using. With that being said, let's set up a common one. I'll let Santosh take the wheel. Maybe Facebook. Yeah, Facebook sounds good. So he's going to select the source here. Once he goes into it, it's going to ask us for a couple things. Obviously, you need your API keys or account IDs or whatever the source settings for getting that data in are. So he's going to go get those right now. I'm going to select some start and end dates to see when the data should be brought in from, if there's a look back window. And one of the things I want to draw your eyes to while he tests this connection is on the right-hand side in the middle there, it says data source setup and troubleshooting. Those two things we've worked a lot on to say, hey, what are the common challenges of setting up a Facebook connector or any of these connectors that we have made available within iPaaS? So there's a step-by-step guide, not only to set the connectors, but also if anything goes wrong, some of those common error schemes, some of the things that you might need to fix or operate on. We really want, and this isn't just API documentation, right? Like this is how these systems interact with our system. We really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of how can we make this process as streamlined and as simple as possible. You shouldn't have to know how to code. You shouldn't know how to you shouldn't need to know how to read API documentation. I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue twisted today. And if you want to set up a new source. That being said, he tested the connection. It looks good. We're green. Let's continue on. So when he hits continue, we head over to transformations. So as you can see, there's a video, another explanation. How do transformations work? Once you're in transformations, there's two types. There's standard and custom. So we have done a lot of work on our end to say, of these data sources, what are the most common ways that the data needs to get connected to one another? What are the fields? What are the types? How do those need to get loaded? That's what your standard connection is. For a lot of use cases, that's what you're going to see. We just want this data in the most common, forward-thinking way possible. But a lot of the times when you have a lot of data sources or custom data mapping or different unique use cases, you're going to want a custom data solution. And you're going to want to be able to do that without a ton of code. And so what you see Santosh is doing right now is he's selecting data streams that he can bring in to iPaaS in a no-code format to be able to transform them in a custom way. So in a second, you'll see him drag them onto the custom screen, and the transformations themselves will pop up. With that being said, of course, if you want to use code, if there is a more complex or more technical requirement that you really want to dive into, of course we can do that. We don't need to always use this. This is just for if you really want to set up your own connections with no code, with no technical know-how, and really just jump in there. You can. There it is right there. Dimensions, functions, all of it. So you see that Santosh inserted that. That's what the transformation piece is. Get your data in, get it the way you want it. Now let's put it to a destination. So once we have it transformed, we need to select where it's going to go. So you see clicks continue, transformation was successful. And then where do you want it? Now, as Bill was telling us earlier, there is a data warehouse. We provide one that is for already with the platform itself, because we know that the biggest challenge is getting your data in one place. We want to make sure that's taken care of at the outset. That being said, if you have other data sources, if you have other places you want the data to go, or you need to embed this into a different system or take from A to B, we have that capability as well. You'll see, much like all of our data sources, our data destinations, we've really thought about all of the places, the common places you might want this to go and what that would look like. So for this purpose, we're going to use data warehouse. And as you see, we successfully added it. The last step here is we need to schedule it. How often do we want this data? Do we want it hourly? Do we want it every 15 minutes? Do we want it once a month? And really, this just depends on what your use case looks like. We select the scheduler, we select the time, we select the time zone. And once we have all of this set up, once we have the sources selected, all of the transformations done, destinations that we want to go to, and the schedule with which we go, then click create new data pipeline, and ta-da, we did it. We built this system so that anyone without a technical background could set up their own data pipelines in 5 minutes or less. That's what we wanted. Now, of course, there are more custom transformations and more complex requirements. We're not saying you have to do this. We're just saying you can. We're giving you the tools to be able to take charge of these things if you want them to. If you don't, if you want more technical, complex solutions, we can do that as well. We're happy to assist in all of these things. And we just want to make sure that everything gets set up the way you want it to. As you'll see, it took us back to the home screen here, and boom, webinar demo. It's done, it's connected. It hasn't synced yet because we just set up the status, and you'll see it on the dashboard. Now, what Santosh is going to do now is he's actually going to go into a little bit more detail on this. If he's going to click the 3 buttons on the right-hand side, and it's going to give us the settings. And if you'll see, there's diagnostic reports, sample data, cloning the pipeline, deleting the pipeline. We have some options here. And if we go into diagnostic report, much like the dashboard report, this is the health of a specific timeline. The health of a specific pipeline. Is it failing? How's the health? What's the data leakage? How many records is it processing? Really all of the analytics that you would want to jump in on, that stream status, the timeline. And the most important thing to me here, all of this is really, really important. Every single piece of this, you can set up custom real-time alerts on. In that, if the pipeline ever goes down, if it hits a specific leakage percentage, if it fails to sync in some way, if the performance is too latent, all of those can be sent real-time immediately to any alerting system that you would like. Do you need this in email? Do you need this in however you'd like? We want to make sure you know exactly when or if something goes wrong. It's really, really important to us that those solutions are thought about and taken care of before they become a larger issue. Like Bill was saying, you don't want to work with data that's a week expired and you just didn't know about it. So we solved for it up front. And as you see, we have so much information on timelines and logs and syncs and diagnostic reports all there in one place. And if there's something you aren't seeing, if there's a custom diagnostic piece of the pipeline that you would like, we have the capability of making that as well. So that actually is the entirety of iPaaS. Not the entirety, but a pretty good overview of what that looks like and how that works. With that being said, now that we've gone through what a test setup would be, I actually want to turn the presentation over to Jason. Jason is a current customer of MADTECH.AI and iPaaS, so he's using it every day. And we would love to hear his customer success story of what MADTECH.AI and iPaaS looks like. So without further ado, Jason, I'll give you the floor.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Hey, everyone. I'm Jason Balk from Media Place Partners. Give you a little bit of background on our company and how we came into the iPaaS solution. So back in '99 is when Adtegrity started, and at that time we were a digital-only agency, specializing in delivering banner ads at that point in time. I'm really aging myself, going back to '99. But that was we continued working with different ad servers and whatnot, and really prior to APIs, which came along, from our perspective with the Right Media Exchange. We were able to create our own connections. Well, our world has changed in the last 25 years, as nobody is really running exclusively on one platform anymore. There are dozens, if not hundreds of different connections that we need to maintain on a reporting basis for our clients. So one of the things that we started doing was creating our own APIs. After we got to through the Right Media and then double click exchanges coming on, we ended up creating more and more APIs, building up our IT's team to help manage it. We also were working with the finance team and creating APIs to automate a lot of our back end automations. So one of the things that led us to is basically creating an IT team that is purely responsible for API data, pulling from the different exchanges. And one of the things that we noticed, obviously over the last 10 years, is we went out and bought a traditional media company. So instead of just doing everything digitally, we're now doing traditional media as well. So in 2017, we bought MediaPlace Partners, and that's the DBA we go by now. And one of the things that kind of led us to Bill was some of our experience with the NetSuite platform. So about 5 years ago, I touched base with Bill, and we were talking about NetSuite and leveraging different data sources to help automate some of the finance backend. And that conversation just kind of led to additional conversations on, hey, what are you doing? From how are you getting your data from Meta, from Google, from all the different platforms, and we use about 25 different platforms right now. And so talking with Bill, it's like the impetus was these platforms are changing the APIs regularly, and to have a full staff for a 30-person agency was detrimental in terms of cost and automation. So we started looking for solutions. And again, our industry is so fragmented. Google and Facebook aren't going to work together. So somebody has to come in and get all of those platforms talking to each other, giving us the data our ad operations teams needs, as well as our client teams need. And one of the things that led to was joining the iPaaS solution and working with Bill and the team and Santosh to help us really maintain those APIs, because maintaining 25 APIs in a small organization like ours was not cost effective at all. But we did recognize the value of integration, even back in 2004. So instead of us having to completely manage that processes from pulling down data every day for the last 30 days for multiple platforms and creating basically our own system, we realized that it's not scalable. And in talking with Bill, the iPaaS solution, we seen the demo was something that really piqued our interest and ultimately led us to sign up with MADTECH. And we've been using the platform here now for about a month, and it's been great. We've been able to, essentially take all of our data that we were pulling down, integrate that into the iPaaS solution, and basically outsource the management of our connections to MADTECH. And that's been a great process. As you can see, setting up the connections and everything are pretty straightforward. Again, you don't need to be a developer in many cases to be able to do a lot of this stuff, but we do have a team behind us that can help lead us along if we have any questions. So how we're using the MADTECH service now is essentially taking all of the data, instead of us managing that, creating our own data lake and everything like that, we are relying on MADTECH for those services, and that allows us to focus on more custom solutions for our clients. As in many cases, every client has different needs and requirements for their campaign. So that was one of the things that we decided to focus, be more client facing, and then outsource a little bit of the back end, which we haven't done in the past. And that's opened up a lot of savings. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for us to go in and present custom solutions to clients that we may discover through the RFP process, or just being contacted, or just our normal sales process. So it's been a great ride so far, and we're continuing to look forward to the partnership, and that's kind of in a nutshell how MediaPlace Partners is utilizing the iPaaS solution for MADTECH.
Hey, Jason, it's Bill. Thank you very much. We have a Q&A later on the call, but I have a quick question for you. I've always wondered. I'm just going to ask now. Sure. So you're somebody that, as far as I know, you get one paycheck, but you're doing two different roles, both the CIO role and the CF role. I'm curious to ask you, what was the driving force? So was there a primary focus on efficiency or effectiveness? So was it more appealing in the end that you're saving a lot of money doing this, or that this is a more effective use of resources on the sort of IT systems, data analytics side? I'm curious what drove the decision in the end to decide to make a change.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we were kind of tuned in on was we can communicate with APIs. Well, the problem is those APIs change. It becomes overbearing, and effectiveness or efficiency, it's both actually. We needed to be more effective in our campaign delivery for our clients, and that means that, like, oh well, maybe we need to connect to a solution that we haven't used in the past. Well, let's go check out iPaaS, see if that solution is available, and connect to it, as opposed to us having to create and invest a lot of the infrastructure in place to handle custom reporting for clients. The efficiencies that you mentioned, yeah, we are able to save, two solid developers, well over $300,000 a year for a small agency is a lot of money to be able to save. But then we also are looking at the effectiveness. So really, the solution kind of combines the best of both worlds from that perspective. We can go out and work with one-off solutions if we have to, but as an agency, you're kind of like you're out there putting your best foot forward for your clients, and in some cases that's just working with a vendor that's you may not be familiar with, especially in the traditional side. We see a lot of that, where you might be working with a magazine or a radio station that's may not be owned by an iHeart, but is right up the client's alley and hits the ideal customer profiles that we're looking to get in front of. So sorry for the long-winded answer, Bill, but it really is both. We have found savings on both the engineering side, and that allows our engineers to create more custom solutions for our clients on the back end.
Jason, early on in the development of MADTECH.AI, I used to tease our people saying that they were doing God's work, that we were both solving for heart disease and cancer at the same time. And they're like, what does that mean? And I said, I think we're going to be more effective, and I think we're going to be more efficient. And I said, I'm not sure which is going to wind up ultimately driving the decision. But I said, I think we can do both at the same time. And this is validating, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the hard work of the people that are on this call from our own company. It takes a lot to do this work, a lot of different mouths to feed from a customer standpoint. And as you well noted, this is a pretty dynamic environment. Things are changing all the time, including your own needs and the time that we've worked together. You've changed platforms as well. So it's not always a fixed cast of disparate data sources. They change, and you need us to be able to evolve quickly to meet your needs. So thank you very much. So I'm going to hand this back to Adam.
Awesome. Yes, thanks again, Jason. That was a great success story that we're still going through. We very much value our partnership. So it's great to see that working on both ends for us. With that being said, it's time for the Q&A portion of this activity. So we're going to be taking, if you have a question, please, there's a Q&A section in Teams. Open that up right now. Throw some stuff in there. We have some stuff that's already come to us, so I'll read some of those questions and pass them along. But as we talk through this, if there's anything that's on your mind, shoot it in there. We'd love to answer any and all of your questions. But the first question that came to us is, what's the typical timeline and complexity involved in implementing MADTECH.AI and iPaaS for a mid-sized team currently using somewhere around 10 different platforms? It's a great question. I'm going to hand this over to Santosh. What do you think about that, Santosh?
Oh,
Yes,
by the
Adam.
way, I'm sorry, it's Bill. Santosh, introduce yourself. What is your connection to all this? You are a proud father. You should tell everybody what you've been doing.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you for that. And so it's been close to 5.5 years being associated with iSocrates and MADTECH.AI, wherein I come from a background with digital marketing with over 10 years and then data and analytics over 15 years of experience overall. And so with that background of digital marketing data, wherein we started with data and analytics. And back then, as Bill was earlier mentioning about curing heart and cancer disease together, I think that's wherein we started this building the data connectors, pipelines, and then bringing that together into one single place. And we were kind of utilizing that for our internal partners to make sure that all the campaigns that we're running, it's all doing well, and then getting alerted in case of there is any issue there. And that's wherein I think Bill started envisioning about having all the models and connectors, dashboards, scorecards in one place, so that becomes a centralized platform for the marketers to make use of it. And it was a wonderful journey, I would say, Bill, and thank you for that opportunity. And going back to Adam's question, so it depends on the type of connectors as well. We have hundreds of connectors now readily available and can be just used by using the credentials and set up those connectors. For those kind of platforms, it would take less than a day or a day or two to complete those connectors and then sync the data, create the dashboards. If it's like in custom connector that we need to work on, or that you need to solve any edge cases, then probably it might take around a week or two to complete those data pipelines and then make sure everything is set.
Yes, that's pretty quick. Along that same line, though, Santosh, are there any platforms that are particularly challenging to integrate?
Yes, I mean, especially some of the DSPs or CRM systems, the data or the response that we get from the APIs will be quite complex, and that's wherein we see some challenges there. But we have an extensive engineering resources wherein they have extensive experience in handling this kind of data and developing these connectors. So the pretty much team have gone through various types of data so far, and any new connectors or any new sources, I think they'll be able to quickly turn around it.
So, for example, if someone came in with a very complex CRM or DSP and they wanted customized data transformations and had unique business requirements that don't really fit into those standard mappings, and they wanted that fully custom, can you do that? Can you customize data that way?
Yes. So, I mean, we went through the transformation steps during the iPaaS data source setup. When we can see a list of transformations already available in the platform, so the users will be able to make use of those transformation capabilities within the platform and apply whatever the transformations that needs to be applied there. In any case, in case if anything is needs to be added, or in case if any custom more customized transformation is required, then we'll be able to support them as well. Yeah.
We can support it. That's awesome.
Right.
And what if that data, there's like data privacy concerns or security concerns? A lot of the times across these multiple platforms, dealing with integrations, you want to make sure your data is secure and safe and not going to get into any bad actors' hands. What does MADTECH and AI and iPaaS, how do they handle that?
We do have the robust security in place wherein all the data that we bring in, that will be kind of encrypted when we store it in our warehouse. And also we are ISO 27001 2022 certified with the SOC 2 type 2 certified as well. So we take we are kind of very serious about the privacy and security concerns, and we have a robust system in place to make sure everything is secured.
Good news. I like to hear that. And what Santosh, since we're laying the questions in on you today, getting those technical questions in, what about if your volume grows significantly? Like, how does iPaaS scale? Can you have unlimited connectors? Can you handle a lot of data? What does that look like?
Yes. So, as I was mentioning earlier, we kind of face some challenges in terms of DSP or CRM connectors, wherein the data will be huge there, and the data warehouse that we have set up, it is configured in such a way that it can scale up to handle a large amount of data, and we are kind of using the log level data as well from a couple of DSPs, and you can imagine when I say log level data, that's pretty huge, and we have that kind of data, and we have that data warehouse set up in or configured in such a way that it can handle a very large data as well. Yeah.
Scalability is good. Love to hear it. And maybe lastly for you, I think, one of the questions that we get, this one wasn't asked, this one's from me. And I'd love to hear your answer on it. Is, we get questions all the time around, what if you don't have our data source? What if our data source isn't on your list of connectors that currently exist? What does that look like? How does it look if I come in and say, great, I have 6 connectors and you have 4 of them, but these 2 I need to connect? How do you handle that?
Yeah. So in the platform itself, we have a lot of connectors that we kind of did the market research and understood what are the different connectors that usually marketers would be using, and we have pretty much all the connectors in place. And for any edge cases, if there is any new connector that needs to be developed within the platform, the users will be able to request a new connector specifying from which data source that they need to bring the data in, and they can just submit that request from the platform itself. And from our side, we do get a notification and then monitor those things. And we have a extensive a group of engineers with a lot of experience in developing these connectors, and they'll be able to quickly turn around it. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's one that isn't there, we'll lift it up. It's good to know.
Yeah. Right.
So Santosh, I'll give you a break here for a second on the technical side. We had some questions that came in around like cost and ROI. And Jason, I think this one might be for you, and maybe Bill. Can you provide specific examples of cost savings or ROI improvements that clients have experienced after implementing your iPaaS solution? I know, Jason, you were already speaking a little bit about this around the full-time engineer costs. So yeah, I'll hand it over.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing that I'll say is in terms of the ROI, we haven't done too much of that as we have just set up the platform. But in terms of like ROI, like I said, it's allowing us, instead of having to go and find new developers, which that in itself is an issue these days, right? So, I kind of look at it as, kind of a one-stop shop for our data. And that allowed me to utilize 2 developers into other things within the company. They don't all need to focus on just creating the connectors, maintaining it. Oh, it didn't run yesterday. I mean, we know how crazy some of these platforms can be, and they might have an issue where, oh, it didn't pull anything down, we got to go back and rerun it and things of that nature. So relying on all of that and putting that in MADTECH's hands has been a blessing for us in terms of cost savings. But it's going to be a different ROI for every business and how they handle it. That's really kind of like an individual question for everybody. But from a high level, we are able to utilize your backend, your engineers, rely on you guys for all of that. Well, we don't necessarily have the infrastructure. It allows us to punch above our weight, in certain cases where we can rely on, the hard, the back end, the solvable problems, but also, all the work that you guys have put into the platform has not happened over 6 months to a year. These are all things that have developed over time. So from our perspective, it's just a great efficiency tool. Also can expand our horizons. I don't need to go and have my developers create the APIs to all the new platforms, right? You guys have that handled. So really, we're not a type of company that just says, oh, look at those savings and hey, that means maybe we could get rid of a few people. No, we just repurpose them because they've been with the company for so long, and the experience in our world over the last 25, 26 years has been pretty crazy in terms of changes, and that just allows us to kind of stay ahead of the curve, and we can be more proactive than reactive.
Jason, I think for some of our customers, their experience is in line with what you've said, but a little bit different in that in some cases they're replacing software as well as not needing the headcount. So in some cases they're using 2, 3, 4 different tools in order to be able to do the connectors, the transformations, data warehouse, alerts. For some of them, there's a significant amount of software, and I think in all cases they're using multiple software providers, not one company that does all of those things. So I think there's probably significant cost savings there on the technology expense besides the labor itself. I guess it's too early to say yet, but hopefully another thing that is a benefit is in terms of your pitching business. You've got capabilities now to be able to offer some first-party data capabilities beyond the paid, owned, and earned media to be able to drive more on the marketing side as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We're able to kind of go in with our clients and have more high-level conversations with them. I don't need to be an expert in 5 different CRMs or 10 different CRMs or 20. It just depends. Our clients go from hospitals to universities. So all of the mixture of a different clients. We don't just sit and focus on the education vertical. We focus on other ones. So that allows us to kind of keep those data connections,
Sure.
under control.
Last sort of related thing is that although we're a technology company, we're a company made up of human beings that are there to service and support customers. Jason, have you had experience with any kind of benefits associated with the fact that you have access to human beings on our end?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, as you can imagine, you're trying to set up a lot of this stuff. You're sending an email to, everybody's customer service is a little bit different, but in working with, MADTECH, it's been a lot easier for us to work side by side and be able to pick up a phone and talk to somebody, as opposed to filling out support tickets and hoping that somebody contacts us right away because we have a high priority deliverable that we're hoping to meet. And in some cases it's like you don't want to have to go back, but it happens. It's just like, well, we're having issues with this or that, and with you guys we can focus on other parts of our business that actually make us more money and support our clients in other ways. So that's another part of it, like Bill said.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, Adam, I see that there's a question that came in. I'm going to direct to you. It says, how does MADTECH.AI iPaaS compare to other integration solutions like Zapier, NinjaCat, Fivetran, or solutions from Salesforce?
Yeah, it's a great question. And thanks for getting that, Bill. I would say that we at the iPaaS and MADTECH.AI are an enterprise grade, purpose-built, uncompromising in its capabilities to meet the needs of marketers and agencies. And what I'm saying there really is that from focused and abundant data connectors to that easy user interface that we saw for custom transformations that doesn't require any engineering skills, to the inclusion of a data warehouse at no additional expense. All of that and the diagnostic reports and the significant details that we put on every data pipeline, all of those individual pieces, the status dashboards, the full-time support team, like Jason was mentioning as well, to make sure that iPaaS is working. All of those come stock and standard. Other organizations don't have it. We are accustomed to those. We are dedicated really to providing a service that is top to bottom, safe, secured, fast, and easy. We want your data to be transformed the way you want, loaded the way you want, in the places you want it, and made available back to you, answering all of the questions that might come up preemptively. When you work with some of these other organizations like a Zapier or a Salesforce, some of them have some of the capabilities that we talk of, but to get to the point where they are performing at the level that iPaaS is performing with how we've dedicated so much time to it would require an incredible investment of time and resources, just so much money that it would be unfeasible. Truly, I mean, truly unfeasible to get there. And that's what we set out to achieve, is what is an affordable solution, solves for all of these pain points in a holistic way where you don't have to worry about everything, all of the load, all of the burden of, hey, if things break, or I need a transformation done, or I want my data to be sorted in a different way. We handle it, not you. It's not expensive consultants. It's not crazy third-party integrations and resources. It is MADTECH.AI and iPaaS, what we've been doing for a decade. We focus on and we make it the best.
Awesome. Adam, thank you very much. Very complete answer to a straightforward question. Thank you. I want to thank Jason for joining us. Jason, it's really cool that what started out as a friendship and the two of us basically trying to learn more and get better at our craft has turned into a great partnership. And I want to thank you for that, and thank you for participating today. Santosh, more than 5 years of thank yous. Thank you for joining our team way back when and for putting up with my visionary ways. We've really spent a bunch of years here figuring out how to do this, and it's exciting to participate with you on this. I want to thank various team members that have joined this, and I want to thank the early customers, some of whom who are also on this call, for your taking a chance on us. And for those that are listening for the first time that are maybe not yet subscribers to MADTECH.AI, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about what we're doing. This particular webinar is focused on iPaaS Suite, which is one of the modules that makes up the platform. It's really important. Garbage in is garbage out in terms of marketing decision intelligence. We think it's absolutely core. We've spent years and years at this, and hopefully others will benefit from it as we have. Adam, anything else you want to cover before we sign off?
I think we covered it for now. I'm excited to continue this series. I wanted to shout out one thing. If you want to hear more from our esteemed leader Bill here, he is giving another webinar on Wednesday, July 30th. I'll share my screen really quick because I have that pulled up. So there's a AI Insiders with Bill Lederer of MADTECH.AI, AI's role in marketing and decision intelligence. So if you want to hear a little bit more of some of the more advanced capabilities that we have down the line, that is available. And we're going to be doing more of these series as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining. This was really fantastic, and I look forward to talking to everyone more.